You are listening to your New Puppies podcast, starting you and your dog off on the right paw. Here's your host, Debbie Salento.
Hello and welcome to episode 104 of your New Puppies podcast. I'm Debbie, and today I want to talk about something that I've talked about multiple times. But I still feel like the whole new puppy world, from breeders to rescues to trainers to new puppy parents, don't talk about enough. And that's the fact that the puppy blues are real and you are not alone. Now, what are the puppy blues? What am I talking about? So this whole episode is inspired by a few things, but also there is an article on Science Daily that a study has proven what most trainers who specialize in puppies already knew. And the beginning of the article, I think, explains what the puppy blues are very well. So I'm just going to read it, and I'm going to link to the entire article in the show notes. So this is what it says. It says, bringing a puppy home is usually a happy event, but sometimes the life change that comes with it can provoke significant negative emotions. Researchers found that almost half of dog owners experience anxiety, weariness, or frustration during their dog's puppyhood stage. Now, I would argue that just about every new puppy owner experiences these negative emotions in some way. How intense they are, that definitely varies. I also think it nailed it when it talked about the life change, because I think that's what gets underestimated, which leads to these feelings of frustration or feelings of failure or just overall anxiety and stress. Because there's no doubt about it, bringing a puppy home is a life change. You're going to have a pre-puppy life and a post-puppy life. And there's no one going back to that pre-puppy life. But anytime we make some kind of big change like this, whether we were ready for it or not, whether we were like, yeah, we're okay with things not being the same, there's always going to be some kind of mourning period for that old life. You know, we're going to miss the full night's sleep that we used to get. We're going to miss the peaceful coffee that we used to have in the mornings. Or simply being able to go about your day without having, this puppy accidents or chewing or anything else in the back of our mind. So I think the most powerful and important way to deal with this is to know that it's normal. In fact, I imagine that this episode is great for those of you preparing for a puppy to kind of have an idea of what's happening. But also, when it is happening, you're probably going to want to come back and listen to this again, because I can tell you over and over again that this might happen, but when it does, it still feels wrong. Because puppies are supposed to be a happy time, right? Yes. But there's some other stuff that comes with it, and it can manifest in a few different ways. I am not a parent myself, but I've worked with many, many families and had enough parents say to me, this is like having a newborn in the house. That's how much time and energy it takes. You can maybe feel like a failure. Like, I'm obviously not doing this right. This is supposed to be easier. What am I doing wrong? The puppy's not, listening to me, or isn't being potty trained, or is crying too much in the crate. I feel like a failure. It is really common to go as far as calling the rescue and calling the breeder to see what your options are, because it's a lot and you weren't expecting it. I have lost count the number of times I have had a new puppy parent break down in tears in front of me, whether it's at a session or over a phone call. You might also think there's something wrong with your puppy because you watched your friends do it, your neighbors do it, your parents do it, your sister do it, and it seemed so much easier. One, you never know what's going on behind closed doors. Everybody struggles with something at this stage. You also don't know how much help they have, and yeah, some puppies are just easier than others. That's usually the exception, but it does happen. Okay, so the second thing that it's important to remember is that this is temporary. That doesn't mean it's easy, but remembering that it's temporary and part of the process. Your puppy will grow up. your puppy will get potty trained. Your puppy will need you less, or you will need to supervise and be on top of your puppy and think about your puppy less as they grow. And that's going to be a combination of your puppy just maturing and learning things, and you will find a new rhythm. And the good news is this is something you can do intentionally. I have a whole episode about your puppy schedule with some suggestions on how to find this new rhythm with your puppy. And in general, I like the structure of potty, play, and enrichment, some more potty, nap, and then repeat. Okay, I go into more detail. That's episode 61. I will link to all the episodes I mentioned in the show notes as always. But if you want to go directly there, it's playtimepause.com/episode 61. 61. This is also why I emphasize crate training so much. I mean, there's many reasons why, but this is a big one. You know, when your puppy feels safe and comfortable in an enclosed space, and you know that your puppy is safe and comfortable in that enclosed space, it gives you a break. It gives your mind a break that sometimes you don't even realize you need. Like, you deserve to go and be able to take a shower without panicking about your puppy, or without keeping the door open and, one ear listening to see if something's happening. You deserve to have 20 minutes in the morning with your coffee while your dog happily chews on a bone in their crate. So I have many episodes on crate training, but the two that probably relate to this the most is episode 5. That's like my main crate training episode. And episode 28, which is reasons to use your dog's crate when you're home, because this is one of them. Again, I'll link to it, but it's always playtimepause.com episode 5 and playtimepause.com episode 28. Okay, so I still have some more advice for you, so don't go anywhere. Because something else I want you to do to kind of prevent or minimize these puppy blues is to keep your expectations low. Like, things are not going to go perfectly. You're going to do everything right. You're going to follow my complete guide to potty training your puppy, and you're still going to have accidents. And you don't need to do everything right away. In fact, in my 4-week puppy program, Your Perfect Puppy, we don't even talk about cues and commands right away. We focus on potty training, crate training, socialization, and nipping. There's a few other things in there, but, if you want to start training your dog's cues and commands, that's great, but you don't have to do it. Do whatever feels the most comfortable for you and your puppy. This is something we talk about a lot inside the Your Perfect Puppy program. Of course, very much related is to give you and your puppy grace. Remember, your puppy is learning everything about the human world. They've also only been on this earth for a couple months. I know that you probably had some picture in your head about what your life was going to be like with your dog when you decided to adopt this puppy. Know that it just takes a little time to get there. Your puppy needs to grow up before they're able to have a nice slow walk down the street, or be able to go for a hike, or to be able to sleep on the couch without you having to worry about an accident. That takes time. Now, my final piece of advice for you, some of you are going to love, some of you are going to hate, but I find that if this starts to happen, if you really start to feel overwhelmed and frustrated and stressed out and, anxious, the best thing you can do is let it out. If you need to cry, cry. If you need to vent, vent. If you have a dog trainer that you have a good relationship with and you feel comfortable enough with, call them up, because I promise you will not be the first one or the last one to need that from them. Or maybe it's letting your puppy chill with a toy or a bone in their crate, and you head over into your bedroom and just let it out. You're not doing anything wrong. You are having an appropriate human response to a major life change that isn't always easy. So I imagine this episode being one of those that if you're preparing for a puppy, it's good to know. It's good to be prepared. But sometimes, no matter how much I say this, when it starts happening, you're not prepared for it. So when you do get the puppy, maybe this is an episode you kind of like bookmark and come back to it and listen again. Because like I've talked about, just knowing that it's normal, knowing that it's temporary, intentionally finding that rhythm with your puppy, and then, setting our expectations in the right space and giving you and your puppy both a little grace. That's really the only ways to get through this moment. You're going to feel it in some way, and that's okay. So if you're a geek like me and would love to see the full article on the study that proves that the puppy blues are real, I will link to it in the show notes along with the puppy schedule and the crate training episodes that I mentioned. And that is all I have for you today. If you find you want more support in these early stages of puppyhood, that's exactly why I created the Your Perfect Puppy program. Not only do you get a roadmap for those first 4 weeks, so you know exactly what to focus on, so we don't try to focus on everything, but you also get direct access to me through Playtime Paws Academy, so we can figure out together what needs to happen to make this puppyhood easier, whether it's finding a schedule, your rhythm, or just simply talking about it. You can find more information on that at playtimepaws.com/puppy. Otherwise, if you are enjoying this podcast, you can rate and review it wherever you listen. That helps other puppy owners find the podcast. I thank you so much for listening. I'll speak with you soon. Bye for now.